What is going on, guys? Paul Ryan back at it again. Hey, I got to say I missed you guys last night. But as we all know, the Cowboys made yet another move bolstering their defensive line, adding veteran defensive tackle, rather nose tackle, Linval Joseph, who has played under Mike Zimmer. You got to love what's going on, man. They bring in, the Cowboys front office has brought in Nick Vigil, a linebacker who played under Mike Zimmer. And now Linval Joseph, who's also played under Mike Zimmer, and just continuing to add depth at positions that are very important to Mike Zimmer's defense. So, love what the Cowboys are doing. You know, maybe doing it a little later than some fans would have liked, but hey, at least they're not just waiting until in season hoping to find something or anything to address potential needs, right? Like we saw last year, where we could use some linebacker depth, and we ended up bringing in somebody. He didn't really work out very well. So, glad to see the Cowboys not doing that. I was listening to 105.3 The Fan today, and I was listening to the G-Bag Nation. Shout out to that show. Love that show. And Brian Broaddus was talking about Micah Parsons. And it came out that Micah Parsons had taken to heart the leadership comments made about him, and he wanted to make a change. And so he reached out to guys like Ray Lewis. He reached out to guys like Tom Brady to become a better leader. And I got to say, man, I was surprised to hear that because, well, this is the first time I'd heard that. But it just kind of shows me that Micah does want to be better, right? Not just as a player, but a teammate, maybe even a man, right? So that was encouraging. However, in that same breath, if you will, in that same discussion, conversation, Brian Broaddus also was talking about Micah Parsons at practice. And take this how you want. I'm not really sure. I'm still trying to figure out what to make of it. But Brian Broaddus was talking about Micah Parsons' practice habits. And he wasn't saying they were bad by any means. But he did say that there were times that when they were doing one-on-one drills, Micah Parsons wouldn't participate. And instead, he would be running sprints on the sidelines by himself. And Broaddus had a thought that maybe Micah Parsons didn't want to embarrass the offensive linemen. You know, you think about guys like Tyler Guyton, Cooper Beebe, you know, just kind of not wanting to embarrass those guys. And while I can understand that, Brian Broaddus also brought up a great point saying that, you know, you kind of are hurting your teammates when you do that, because Tyler Guyton, he could benefit a lot from those reps, right? Cooper Beebe can benefit a lot. Zach Martin can benefit a lot. Terrence Steele can benefit a lot. Tyler Smith can benefit a lot. For as good as those guys are, everybody can benefit from going up against one of, if not the best player in the NFL. So I found that interesting, man. Like, you know, it was kind of an up and down roller coaster, if you will, about Micah's offseason, where he's trying to be a better leader, but then he's not taking every rep with his teammates. Like, kind of strange, but all in all, man, you know, I'm just glad to know that Micah is trying to be better. I know they brought up a great point on the G-Bag Nation. I don't remember if it was Brian Broaddus or Gavin Dawson, Eric Chiafalo, or Zach Wolchuk, but they were saying how nowadays in the NFL, team leaders need to not only lead by example, but be vocal. And we know, as we've come to find out, Dak's not really a vocal guy. I think DeMarcus Lawrence is kind of a vocal guy, but even then, I don't think he was vocal enough to be considered the team leader, a team leader. I think, you know, there's a good chance he's probably considered a leader of the team, but maybe not the team leader, if that makes sense. So yeah, I liked hearing that Micah is trying to be better in that way. I know every team can need it, especially the Cowboys, right? Where a lot of questions about culture have been brought up. But another thing that I just thought of now is kind of starting to see the Mike Zimmer effect on this team, where not only in personnel, but I think players are wanting to, I don't know, maybe be better, not just physically, but mentally as well. Maybe I'm reading too much into that, but that's just something that I thought of just hearing about Micah, and, you know, how Mike Zimmer preaches about, you know, not just having good players making, you know, not being good just physically, but also making smart plays, not trying to do too much, making the right plays. So I think that's starting to have an effect on this team, and you love to hear it. This defense is going to be really special, man. And another thing Brian Broaddus said, that Cowboys might not even be done adding to the defensive line. He said that, yeah, they went out and added Linval Joseph, but they could still be looking to make more moves. Not just at defensive tackle, or excuse me, not just on the defensive line, but maybe still trying to add a running back, which is kind of sad because people were asking, or Brian Broaddus was asking people around the Cowboys about Deuce Vaughn making this roster. What are their thoughts on him? And they were saying they didn't think he would make the 53, and that the Cowboys seem to really like, or the coaching staff rather, really likes Malik Davis. And I don't know, man. I know I'm not a scout by any means. I have a lot to learn as far as football goes, but it's hard not to get excited about what you saw from Deuce Vaughn after missing most of training camp, missing a lot of practice reps, and then what he was able to go do against that first team Raiders defense. That element, man, that he has it's a difference making element that this team could really, really use. But that's no disrespect to Rico Dowdle. That's no disrespect to Ezekiel Elliott. That's no disrespect to Hunter Lipke, who sounds like those are the three guys that are guaranteed spots on this roster. But I hope we can find a way to add Deuce to that 53. Maybe Deuce and Trey Lance can show out and earn their spots on the roster. I'm sure Trey Lance obviously has a spot on the roster, but hopefully Deuce can show out on this final preseason game and earn a spot on this roster, man. Prove himself. But yeah, guys, that's all I've got for you tonight. I hope everybody's having a good night. I'm Paul Ryan. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Peace.